So tonight, being that this is going to be a kind of ending point for these for at least the foreseeable future, and one of the reasons is I want to try to shift more towards competing and showing up Wednesdays and playing and things like that, rather than focusing on teaching. But I wanted to also describe what I've been trying to achieve these times when I've been giving these lectures. These are not supposed to usually be inclusive answers on how you achieve so much in chess. This is giving you directions. I'll give you an example. Today I was reading an article on Lee chess, and it's about a study they did about a group of people who practiced this method they call the woodpecker method. Okay, it's a method by Grandmaster Axel Smith, where he showed sets of these problems ranging from medium up to very hard, where titled players are missing them and things like that. And by going over these problems repeatedly, the level of strength you could achieve. And he was very impressed because he did this in his training, and he achieved it was all over 2,500 and got his grandmaster title and things like that. And he promoted this as a way for regular people to improve their chess dramatically. But I think in a way, and what the study showed was that the average change was something like 30-something points ELO. And that's a lot of work to gain an average of 30 points ELO. Okay? So what I want to point out, and they found actually where it was most successful was players under 1,200. Okay? So, but I think a lot of it has to do with what you're trying to achieve in chess and what level you are. If you are at a lower level, seeing a lot of problems and things like that is always going to help you familiarize yourself with patterns and things like that. When you reach a certain point in your maturity, when you've seen those patterns, the bigger gains are going to be achieved by understanding. Okay, and it may be understanding the opening you're playing, some of the strategies behind it. It may be achieving mastery of the endgame positions that result from some of the positions you get regularly and things like that. But a lot of it isn't what we want to study, because what we enjoy the most, whether it's looking at little, endgame problems or endgame tabia or opening theory or whatever it is, we usually get a sweet point where we really love doing that. And we keep doing it. We go, geez, why aren't I getting any better? You're only doing what you love, okay? In chess, you want to push yourself into those areas that you aren't as comfortable with, that come a little harder, if you want to actually improve. So I figured I'd throw that in at the start today. But today we're going to look at E4, E5, and I think I'm going to put out some of my philosophy in how we approach this. And this, to me, is all dependent on levels. For instance, the first game that I want to show you is, I would say, for his strength, he was probably the most successful at the candidates. And I'm not talking about Sundarev, who had an amazing elite performance that may never be equaled. I mean, he was incredible. I was talking about Wei Yi with his choice of double king pawn. He chose lines that were a little off center. Now, if I'm going to illustrate what I mean by showing one of the games, he beat Andrei Esipenko, okay, and it was in a very Petrov's probably considered almost, well, I mean, if not the most solid double king pawn defense. I mean, it's right there. I mean, the Berlin or the Petrov, it's very, very solid. And now after knight takes e4, what would what would be, does anybody play this position as white? I mean, it's a very mainline position, e4, knight f3, and your opponent plays knight f6 and takes the pawn. Anybody? John, what move do you play here for
As
white?
white?
Yeah.
Probably d4.
D4. Okay. D4 is the most natural move in the
Could
world.
try queen e2, but it's kind of drawish.
Yeah, I would say, I would ask you a question. Does your queen actually belong on e2?
No.
Okay, well, that's what, yeah, I would.
People do play queen.
Wait,
If
no,
they're
no.
looking for a draw, maybe.
Yeah, but you may be on the wrong side of the not quite a draw. Okay, you know, when you try to force, it happens sometimes like white plays the exchange French and tries to just exchange material off. A lot of times French players are very good endgame players, and you can get yourself into trouble doing that. You generally, it's people who want to play ambitiously, even with something like the exchange, that achieve something. But what Asipenko, I mean, not Asipenko, Wei Yi does, which is kind of interesting, but clearly not the strongest move, okay, is to play, now why is it listing Queen E2 so high? That's bizarre.
Is this Masters or is this?
No, this is ridiculous people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
sorry.
your average Joe. Yeah, might play Queen.
No, I was like, what are they all doing? Play
What's the
Queen
percentage?
E2.
Is it like 50%?
Well, here, it was the most popular move. It was better than D4. Okay, so I was like, now the mainline theory now, which this is all the rage, is in positions like this, white challenging the black knight with knight to c3. That was not the main line for most of my chess career. The main line was d4. Okay, and black's response was almost universal. He was always going to play d5 to equalize the center. And this is actually very, you know, it's interesting from a standpoint, we've achieved a completely symmetrical position that black has one extra move. He's not short anything. He's up a move. So, but that shows you sometimes moving forward isn't always an advantage. It can actually be a disadvantage in this case, because now this knight is going to be targeted and white's going to put pressure on the center, and black is a little short about consolidating this position without making any compromises. So white's going to gain something through this. But this is still very solid and drawish, and Wei Yi plays a line which is like virtually unknown. Okay, this is a very, you know, unusual take on it. And he's saying you're not going to get to play d5 in the same way that you did before, because I'll trade my c pawn for your d pawn and I'll have more center pawns. Now this doesn't refute Petrov's in any way. This is only an equal position. You don't have any advantages white here, but it's a little off the path. And notice that somebody, even at the highest level, he's playing in the candidates, doesn't get much higher than that, okay? He's willing to take these risks, and as shown in the game, he ends up achieving, through unusual play, I mean, it's not that often you get to put your king on f1 by design this early in the opening, okay? But what he did get is a very dynamic, interesting position to play. You can see all of a sudden we're not even defending c3, okay? And this position's wild, right? I mean, the better player is going to win positions like this most of the time. So we've created a lot of imbalance, okay, and a very interesting position. Both sides have to, you know, watch every move. Yeah, this is the black finally erred in the game, and who would say the position was refuted after king h2? Okay, that's kind of not the move that's going to usually knock you out of your seat at the board when they play king h2. But a very, very interesting game. I'm just going to show the end of it briefly. I was more using it just as a point that he did choose to do something very unorthodox and very interesting, and created a dynamic position by doing so. But this obviously, this was never seen before, a game like this. Okay. Wait a minute, why are we... I thought they repped too many times there. What the heck is going on? Okay, now, okay. I thought they took more than 3 times in the same position. It was only 2. Okay, I wasn't... I must have missed something. All right. So, and now we're back at it again. These guys love this repetition. So, yeah, and here's Zines here. So, I mean, but really a very interesting, double-edged game, and a very unusual choice in the open. So,
Sorry. Why can't black play rook takes rook there then?
Okay, at the end.
In the last position.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I went the wrong way. Wait, here we go. Okay, why can't black play rook takes rook?
Yeah, I missed like a tactic.
Let's see. If rook takes e2, queen takes e2.
Oh, you get it with the fork. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Right. Well, it's gonna go with check. Check is the. Yeah, that would be an issue.
So you can't take the rook.
Yeah, he probably missed that from a distance. So, in any case, but no, it's just an illustrative game. Okay, and now if you look at, for instance, let's say a more popular treatment in the opening, which there's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games over even just a short period of time in this line, and I honestly don't think it's very easy to make anything of this. Why white players are so attracted. I mean, for years in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, nobody would play this position. If you did, they'd be laughing at you. What are you doing? And now every super GM plays this all the time. And I mean, look at the incredible results White has. 47 versus 46. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see in the Masters database. It's 48% draw. I mean, it's nothing outstanding or anything. It's just, I think it evolved because of the fact that the Berlin made the Roy Lopez seem boring, and they couldn't do much with it. And a lot of the lines were considered to be insipid. Okay, but here's the thing: you got somebody like Wei Yi, who's going in a different direction, who's taking the challenge. He's not searching for an objective advantage. He's searching for a different, just something that's fresh, something a little new, which I think, people underestimate the value of that. And this is at the highest level. So you can just imagine at lower levels, the threshold for being sound is much lower. So I just would mention that. And even, now this is a little more forcing line. Okay, playing d4 here. Okay. But I think you'll notice a trend here. Who wins more of these games? Can you see the bar? It's 31% for black, 27% for white, 42%. And this is in the master database. Why is white choosing an opening is a negative resultant? That doesn't even make any sense. And this isn't just some random players. Okay, if you look, Magnus Carlsen has played this, and he's getting drawn by Wesley So and Li Quang Lem. I'm probably massacring that. There you go. Okay, and I mean, you can see the players. Nipanichi, Duda is playing this, Nakamura is playing this. Okay, the only one who won out of all of these, was Nakamura until we go all the way down here. I'm not even going to try. Okay, but in any case, I mean, it's not because it's being successful. It's people are trying to look for something, and it's kind of not there. And a lot of it is very simple, the ways to respond to these things. For instance, after this was like a mainline position years ago, and there was only one move considered for black. Black used to always just play knight to e4 here, right? I mean, this is, I think Igor Nikolaev used to play this position a lot, actually. And this position, you know, it's been played over and over and over. And, you know, black actually has some practical advantage in these positions. It says 0-0s, but if you look, well, here, okay, in this case it's saying white has an edge. I don't even believe it. If you look at the latest games on Lee Chess, okay, so maybe white has an edge. I'm not even believing it, though. So if we actually look at the new solution, it's even worse. Because you don't have to play knight to e4. You can just play knight d7 here. And then it's very clear at all levels, I think, masters, yeah, at all levels, if they just play knight d7, black's better. So why are we you know, going, oh, just because so many strong players have played it, we've got to keep playing it? I don't understand that. So searching for some new ground, I think is very valuable. So why don't I show you some of the things that I'm talking about? So let's say you wanted to, you know, do something that people haven't been doing. They haven't seen it at the candidates. The other guys down in the club, they're not all playing it. Let's say we're going to do something unsound. It was refuted back when Bobby Fischer wrote the Bust to the King's Gambit. That was he wrote an article years ago, and at the end of it, it had this nice little glib finish. And if they play differently, they'll lose differently. Okay, which, you know, what a line. That's pretty good. Okay, so in any case, looking at the King's Gambit, okay, now first off, if black plays, let's say, a move like bishop c5, okay, it's always nice to give them the opportunity to think they're winning something or doing something positive and play knight to c3 here. Now, this is a reoccurring theme in positions, and it's based on pretty much a truism. If you spend 2 moves to take a piece that's moved 0, it's bad for you, okay? But I've had players over 2,000 play this. I mean, they do it in real-life chess. I'm not talking about a 3-minute or 5-minute game. I'm just sitting at the board, and they're thinking real hard, and they're coming up with this move, okay? And it's not good, okay? Now, why is it not good? Now, and you can see, this is the master database. There's the players that I'm talking about. Look, this guy's 2345, 2240, 2225, okay? They somehow thought this was going to work out, you know, reasonably. We're going to, oh, this is the difference. See, if you look at it on this database, 1,200 people played the check, which, I mean, it's more consistent than the way they're playing. If you're going to spend 2 moves to give up your dark squared bishop, at least win something. Okay, but the problem is you're busted if you do this. Okay, which they probably realized either maybe even before or after they end up in this position. Because first off, white has too much development, beautiful bishop, and the queen is actually misplaced because there's no pieces with it. There's no attacking force, okay? There's just one lone queen that got sucked into being on h2. Why is it there? Okay, it's going to be subject probably to attack and harassment just to get it out. So it's going to lose more time. It's just a disaster. So, well, and you can see the engine is up in arms about the whole situation. You just play rook, you know, here, and this is bad news for black. But that being said, if you're playing the, okay, wait, I want to go back, pretty please. Okay, let's see if we can go back. Yeah, there we go. So, if you want to give them the chance to do that, You know, you're not going to get a mistake on move 3 or something in the Roy Lopez or the Jaco Piano, okay? But if you play something a little more, like the King's Gambit, something exciting, you can have things like that go on. Another example of this type of. Okay, so let's see if they play. Yeah. So this is the correct response, obviously. So this is if they know everything's right, and white actually gets an edge here. After this, well, I think it's a practical edge anyway. You know, the computer's saying it's zeros, but I think that white's just better. Well, look at the database. 64% score for white. This is only over 2200 too. They're not beating any 12s or 1400s or people who play Queen E2. No, they're not beating them, and this is legitimate. There's a threat. You can just imagine, less experienced players. These are guys 2200 and above, all the way up to 3000 something. Okay, and they're not doing well against this Queen H5. You can just imagine, the guys who are 14, 1500. I mean, what the heck? My pawn's hanging. What am I doing? Okay, this could be an issue. Right. And if they respond correctly with knight c6, they're only scoring 33% with black, 62 for white. It's nice. So let me show you an example of what the play would look like here. This is, I think I looked just the best computer moves from that position. Why is it 60%? You can see white has a much nicer structure, and black doesn't have a break in the position. See, when you look at a position, okay, and you see, let's say, a structural defect, okay, like this, where you have all these pawns that are kind of targets, okay, that's one thing. But is there some dynamism? Is there some way for black to, like, jettison these pawns and create some dynamic, and you can see the squares just don't kind of exist for that. If for instance, black ever pushed c6, c5, he seals the bishop in, and he sets himself up to have pressure with like a move like bishop a3 too. I mean, there's just problems at every turn. Okay, it's not clear. And for instance, if black, let's say, plays an active-looking move, you just ask the question right away, are you ever going to want to play bishop takes knight and open up the g file so you can get mated? I might have slipped up with the answer there. Okay, no, you don't want any part of this. So it's not beneficial for you. It's not clear where black's ever going to find counterplay in a position like this. Maybe if he could cheat and drop the knight on f6 into d4, he might be okay. But I don't know. It doesn't look like there's going to be time for any kind of way to fight this. It's just too. Now it's funny because there was a very strong player. I'm not going to call him out on this, but he said, I would play the King's Gambit, but do you know what annoys me? And I said, no. What annoys you here? He said, when they play this check here, okay, it's not like I have to play g3, and then it's not like a King's Gambit because they bring the queen back here. Does this look amazingly threatening? Anybody? Is anybody worried about?
No, it closes in the bishop.
Okay, it closes in the bishop. I mean, is there any threats in the position? Okay, so wait a minute. Maybe this. So what would be the logical response here, right? Just guard the pawn. And if they capture, guess what? We're not going to take it. That might not go well, but we could, but it's not going to go well. D5 is going to be embarrassing. Okay, so I didn't. So if EF D4, yeah, this is what I meant to show. But in any case, and right now, this lead in development. The elephant in front of the garage, it's going to be hard to get the vehicles out, okay? This isn't good, okay? So this is a very comfortable position for white, and it's very imbalanced. So why would you be afraid of this? This really isn't a bad thing. So I just figured just for this person they passed, but I give them a footnote on that because that annoyed them, that Queen E7 after the check. Okay. So another way to play is D5. They call this the fox spear counter gambit. Now, there's two different ways. If, for instance, white takes this, black can just turn around and transpose into the regular king's gambit, okay, but with something in black's favor. Okay, does anybody know what's in black's favor here?
Yeah, after the queen check, the pawn's going to be able to take G3 when white blocks with the pawn.
Okay, yeah, that wouldn't be in oh, that's in black's favor, you're saying. Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah. And actually there's something else in black's favor that if you play, for instance, in this position, bishop c4, okay, it's not as successful as if you had played it through the regular move order. If, for instance, black had taken here and played this, if you are faced with d5, the best move is to take it with the bishop, not take it like this, which you lose that option. Okay, so if you want to not let somebody play the main line of the bishop's gambit, okay, you could choose that move order. But there's also a choice from white that I was actually unaware of, is just to play knight f3 here. It's actually interesting, okay, because like if you look at the, well, first off, if they played this way, okay, we're just transposing and now we're back into the knight gambit if we wanted to, okay, and if they did it the other way, which is the more popular move, because they're saying we're not going to give you the chance, after a knight takes e5, okay, I'm familiar with this because I've had this played against me a couple times recently, okay. There's just this move, and obviously if white has to take this, black's better already, okay, so white doesn't want to do that, but white can just play knight c3 was, I think, what they played against me, and I don't think it's good to take after that. Or wait, maybe it was bishop c4. Just a sec. I'm not remembering this now. After this is what I played when I was faced with. Oh no! They played queen e2. Was it queen e2? No, I was right. Knight c3. That's the best move. And then I played queen e7, and they played queen e2. Yeah, this was a game I'd had, but I didn't. It wasn't like I got anything good as black. I wasn't impressed. I thought they were playing something weird. Okay, knight f3. I'd never seen that before. The fox spear declined. I'm like, I didn't know you could even do that. And I found, the idea with d7 and queen e7. But then, I mean, when they take here, right? Takes. I think in the game, I think I did this. Okay. And, what's the problem here? And queen e4, I think this is a dynamic, interesting game. I don't think, there's anything wrong with playing this. It's imbalanced. You're not behind in development. You have one more central pawn as white. What's the problem? I don't see any issues with this, personally. I would be happy to play it. And, I mean, what are we talking? Even the computer says 0.2. Now, are you all mature enough to understand 0.2 on a computer for humans doesn't mean anything? That's not even reality, okay? Because what that's based on is a depth nobody in this room, anyway, nobody's been in this room, okay, would ever be able to exploit, okay? It's based on a level of perfection, looking at best moves by both sides, to a distance that there's no way we could spend our lives studying this position. We're not going to understand it well enough. Okay, so if you're getting a playable position or a position that's reasonable for you, hey, try it out. I mean, go for something new, something innovative. Now, let's see. I just want to see. Okay, I've still got plenty of time. Okay.
Yes,
So,
Cliff, could you
yeah.
go back over the Faulkner counter gambit?
Okay.
Right, we're after the...
Okay, the
Maybe
normal continuation here would be white would, not
Black.
knight f3. Here,
Black
and
pushes.
black would push. Okay, now, personally, I've never cared for that. Okay, I think this is, after d3, I think this is advantage white. I played this position maybe about 100 times with a player named Eric Worrell. He was at one time like 21 something. He actually won the expert tournament. They had a FIDE rated expert tournament. He won like $300 or something because he won the whole thing. Okay, and he was a very aggressive, good attacking player and everything. But he couldn't make this position with black work, and I don't think anybody can. I think it's just better for white. Okay, but that being said, if we go back, black doesn't have to push e4. And when I had played it, you saw I had played it. I didn't intend to do. See, a lot of players play it this way, and then after takes, they just take here, right? A lot of players play it that way. Okay, I didn't intend to do that. Okay, because to me, this is kind of boring. Maybe I might even find white more exciting than black. Okay, although it's theoretically it's great for black. There's nothing wrong with this. Very healthy position. But that being said, I liked a much more interesting approach with c6 here. Okay, now white may actually get an advantage here, but I think this is a really spicy, interesting position, and I'm all about it. Okay, and it's the kind of thing when you move your f pawn, there is certain things that become weaker. So trying to open that up right away and maybe accessing dark squares in the future, this gets very interesting and very, very spicy. It's not easy for anybody to just slow things down at this point. This game is going to kind of blow up. But as you saw, when I tried to play this, I experimented with it as black. I had this nasty thing happen to me. They played this knight f3 that I'd never even seen before, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, like, what are you doing playing knight f3? But it worked out for them. They got a decent game. I want to say maybe we drew, but I don't recall offhand. In any case, this is, to me, much more interesting opening play than playing those lines in that Giaco Piano, the slow game with d3. We've just been moving around for years. And that being said, let me show you, I want to show you some of the excitement that can occur if they do accept the pawn. So, because I've neglected that. So let's say they accept it. I was going to show bishop c4. Yeah, let's do this. See, and even at over 2200 level, the most popular move, I don't think is that good. Okay, which is kind of nice. When they look at it, they look at their computer, what does it say? Negative 0.6. Oh, I must be winning. I can play this all day, right? So everyone's going to want to, play this as the black player, right? Because you're down half a pawn is white. What are you thinking? What have you done to yourself? Okay, but I don't think it's anything at all, especially because the major move, if you look at it, okay, is putting their queen. Now, we move the bishop out so we have f1 available, and then when we're ready, we don't need to rush with this, we can probably gain a tempo on this queen eventually. It might be in an awkward square. Now, there's another thing about this that players they don't always fully appreciate. is the nature of the endgames in this position. Okay, even though there's 4 of these pawns here, okay, if, for instance, let's say we lose one of those, the G pawn, those are all rubbish. And the endgames were, wait a minute, we playing the King's Gambit, we accepted, we took it, and we've got a bad endgame? Okay, they don't always appreciate that kind of factor. Okay, so it's very easy actually for white to get very positive positions because the concept, you're giving up this F pawn for an E pawn with the idea at a given point white's going to have better central control. So it's a long-term advantage. It's not always a, oh, I'm going to sack on F7 and make the king on move 24. It's not, that's not always the motivation. But these positions, like if for instance, we look a few more, okay, it really, now, and this is supposed to be the most practical defense, too, this bishop e6, okay, and after this, if white finds the idea, knight to d5, you know, it's showing it, it's putting the arrow there, but how many of your opponents do you think are going to rush to play queen d8? You know, I don't think everybody always finds that type of move. It's not necessarily an easy move when you've taken a move. So let's say they find it even. Oh, wait. Okay, first we're taking here, which I think is going to be much more common. Taking, c6, bishop back. So this actually I think is in all like that. Okay. So if you were to play this, do you see this as advantageous for white or black? I mean, does anybody have any like feelings about this position at all, and why? You like white here?
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, it's an inconvenience. Our king isn't going to be able to castle, but does he have a light squared bishop? No. Okay, so it's going to be surprisingly secure, I think, on f1. We also have an extra center pawn, and we've got a pair of bishops. Now, is the pawn on f4 going to be a strength, a weakness? Are we going to be able to gain time on the queen on h? These are all things yet to be determined, but they're interesting, and I think it's very clear that it's not disadvantageous to us. We've got a dynamic, interesting position. This idea point 2 means anything, to me that doesn't exist. I don't even see that. That's not chess. It's only for computers. In any case, so I was going to show that. Oh, now here's the position that I see the most. I wanted to weigh in on this. This happens all the time. I think this is only good up to a certain level, and it's not very high, truthfully. Okay, at this point, okay, we know all the kids that get really excited, you're going to fry somebody's liver. Okay, no, it's time. Something's going to happen on f7. There's going to be an accident. Okay, now, if the player is very unsophisticated and doesn't know what's going on here, this can be a diabolical weapon. But here's the kind of funny part. If, for instance, this gets played, okay, this is where black's going to be in trouble. If they walk into this, okay, precisely, this is the classical fried liver. I'm going to sack. Everyone's seen this, right? Is there anybody who's not familiar with the fried liver? Because I can keep going. I'm not shy. No. Okay, well, I'll go just a couple moves just to the pressure on black's position is just, it says we've got a 0.6 advantage, but it feels like 3.6. I mean, this king is not happy. This is rough. Okay, I think the greatest challenge white has to overcome in a position like this is overconfidence. Okay, stay focused, really, stay on point and just kill the guy. Okay, but objectively, I think the position is just terrible. And in fact, Magnus Carlsen reached this position once, and he actually played, and I'm not joking, he played this move, he played 97. No, that's not a good idea. Okay. Now, the really stupid part is he reached a 1 position, I think, before he lost. Okay. But, okay, wait a minute. I actually have the game. I have the game. I'm just going to run through the game because it's kind of amusing. Okay. C6, D4. Yeah, black's winning now. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, some people are just too resilient. This is so bad, though. Yeah, this was, Magnus lost this to Ali Fallujah. Okay? You see the thing down here?
Was it like Blitz?
Yeah, speed chess final. Okay, but even speed chess, come on. I like Magnus is ridiculously. Ali Fallujah is not a joke. Okay, he beat him in real positions. I'm never playing that position against him. He must have taken it as like an offense, like somebody playing the bomb cloud against you. And it's like, does this guy really? He doesn't know I play chess. Okay, you can't play knight E7 there. That's not legit. I mean, you saw the engine. Was it 3 or something? Who takes on? It's not like Carlsen didn't know it was -3. He knew that. He said, "Yeah, bring it on anyway. I'll still beat it." But he lost that game. That was a bridge too far for him. Although he was winning at some points. But no. See, that's going over the limit. Now, it's funny because I would say you could go right up to that, and especially for club players. So on this position, in this position, on knight g5, there's a move that is far more sound than what Magnus played. And I don't think you're going to be faced with anybody as good as Ali Fallujah, so Magnus overcame that with Ali Fallujah, but playing bishop c5 here, in the course of my chess career, this has went from, oh, it's a cheap trick, to, oh, this is a forced draw, to this is a legitimate opening, to it's very unclear. Okay, I would say, first off, too, what I'm talking about is, now if you take with the bishop after this, there's a slight edge for what black doesn't have full compensation for the pawn, but this is a tricky and complex enough position that this is not why this is not played. In fact, you can see in the Lee Chess over 2200 database, it's about a coin flip here. Okay, this is not why people don't all play the Traxler variation. Okay. The reason they don't play is they're worried that this works. And it's a large portion of my chess career, when computers were good anyway, this was a win for white. But computers didn't have it right. For years, they didn't have it right for this. Okay? And after this move, things get really dicey. And you can see, in practicality, it actually favors black. Okay? Because when you're playing a move like this, you usually know what you're doing after bishop takes f2. Your opponent may be like, really? He may not know. In fact, there's a lot of people who don't take it. And you can see the evaluation didn't change. But I'll tell you what, your life got harder. Okay? I think you've got to take it, and you've got to know the way to make sure you get a draw. Because this is more dangerous, truthfully, for white than black. You can make the one wrong step, it's over. See this, right? This happened. These guys were not that weak. Yeah, white was almost 2400. This 2000 sniped him. So bang, they're over. So not a happy thing for him. But in any case, Yeah. So the thing that I'm getting at is playing this knight g5 move. Okay, if for instance you've got the average educated player, he's going to know this move. Okay, and after this, he'll probably play this. Although this is a very nice little line to know, because it actually creates so many people doing the wrong thing. Because even over the 2200 level, you can see 44,000 people, only 22,000 get it right and play bishop f1. That's not a bad ratio of you being in charge as black, or at least equal, easy equality, and maybe more dynamic for you. Okay, that's a nice ratio. Okay, the point is, and many players play this. Okay, here it's 14,000 played bishop takes. Now it's supposed to be even. This is more even for black than white in my book. Okay, because there's some serious things being questioned here. Okay, and if your best move, as the computer states, is to give up your bishop, okay, this is not the happiest day you've ever had with white pieces, I'm sure. The computer says it's even, but these bishops are going to come out fast. This knight is out here dangling. I mean, yeah, it's not so easy. There's this diagonal. This bishop ever hits this unopposed light square diagonal, this is going to be a thing. Yeah, you're going to be under pressure the whole game. Or what? You're not going to castle kingside? You kind of got it, right? So you're going to castle right into that long diagonal, and you're going to suffer a lot. I mean, black may find some attacking moves. There may be an h-pawn that heads your way. Things can happen. It could go badly for you, I'm just saying. So, yeah, very, very nice position from the black standpoint. But, I mean, if white knows everything, this should just be a transposition to a relatively safe line for white or black. If he wants to spice things up, he can. Okay? There is the idea of just taking here, which is kind of, this is new. Okay, now this, you'll see again, you got this imaginary point 4 advantage, but this position, now I'm going to play all the best computer moves. It already dropped to point 3, you saw that. So, I mean, these advantages are kind of a joke. It's not serious. That was the best computer move. Best computer move. Okay, and wait a minute. If they castle. See, most of the people, you can see this. This is over 2200 and above. More of them play castles here, which it's a very natural move, is to play castles. Yeah, okay. Not everyone is coming up with the idea, I want to open the center up while my king is still sitting on e1. That's not as attractive a looking move. Okay, but that's the best computer move. But if they do this, we're just going to equalize immediately with knight f4. Very, very dynamic, interesting position for black. White is going to have some questions to answer. But if we go back here, right, and let's say white plays the very best move, and we respond with the very best move, and they respond with the very best move, and we respond to the very best move, and they say this is the best move. Now, for a minute, it was 0.2. This drops down to like nothing eventually. Is the point? 0.3 is this close to nothing. Okay, it's almost hard for me to give it credit. Okay, but I mean, look at this. You've got all these pieces sitting here, not even moved. King's still in the center. It's a wild, dynamic, interesting game. And how many games are there? 1. That was all computer tech. You saw that. We went to a little different direction, and now instead of standing on thousands of games, okay, at every level, no, we've got one stinking game. Okay, and we played literally like perfect accuracy. If you play this game, watch out, they're going to flag your account. I'm sorry. Okay, if you remember that theory, they're going to, bad things could happen. I'm just warning you. Sorry, but yeah. So what I'm saying is you can take some of these risks, and you can get some very interesting chess going. But that's the thing. If you as white reach a certain level, the interesting games here, a lot of them are for black. For instance, okay, if black just plays the standard line, right? This is the old classic, right? Now, Joe. Yeah, I saw you nodding there. Who are we going to recapture with? It's black's move. I'm helping you.
The pawn or the knight, Joe?
No giving him hints, Jim.
Oh, no.
I know. It's white's move, Cliff.
No.
It's black's move. I would
Black's
take
move.
with the pawn.
You would take with the pawn, not the knight? You're leaving your knight on the rim?
Hold it. Oh no, the knight. Yeah, you're right. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
well, the knight loses. Okay, you wanted to take with the pawn.
Talk you into it.
Well, wait a minute. Explain that to me.
I'm going to. I just wanted somebody to say the wrong answer so I could explain it. No, because there was a kid at camp, okay, and he goes, no, I know about the fried liver. You're not frying my liver.
Well, let me see. So show me how that works.
I'm going to, sir. And he said, you're not going to catch me with any fried livers. And one of the kids was very excited about the fried liver, and the kid who wasn't going to get his liver fried with black played knight takes because he was rational. He didn't want the knight out on the rim. We know knights on the rim are grim and dim and have no vim, all that stuff. So his opponent just shifted this over here and went, excuse me, would you like to defend that? He goes, well, you can't touch that pawn. I'm blocking it. Little joke, does this look at all familiar? This is the same position except there's no c-pawn. All he did is manage to get rid of his c-pawn, and we're going for it, right? It's over. Now, if you thought the position was good with the c-pawn, with black having to support his center, can you imagine without the c-pawn? This is just ridiculous. There is no good moves for black here. Okay, so obviously you got roasted here. Okay. But, that being said, let's say black knows not to fall into the trap. Okay, the two moves, okay, that are most popular are bishop d3, and now there was this idea that was popular briefly this way, and I think what white was hoping for is black to go for this sack, okay, right, where he's going to give this pawn up, but then shift the bishop back to d3 and claim some advantage here. This was some computer analysis, right? And this guy who did some really good computer analysis with white, this is the fried liver for white, and it was on Chessable, okay, said, now I'm going to claim some advantage for white. But what he was overlooking here is we don't have to play bishop d7. And back, a few generations of computers, this was not considered the best move. But now, this move, which somebody played back in the early 1990s, who everyone thought they were a little silly, but only one of us is laughing now. Okay, but in any case, yeah, it was me, but I didn't like the idea of him playing this silly queen move, and just so, I said have the rook. I'm taking the bishop. Okay, now, I gotta be honest, I didn't win this game, I lost this game. The guy was much better, he's a FIDE master, okay, very strong player. And, but if you look at this for a second, it's amazing, because after queen to c7, in this position, wow, white has really got some stuff to deal with. This queen is not placed well, and black's compensation is amazing here. Okay, I mean, just a travesty for white here. If, for instance, we can all kind of agree he has to get the queen out immediately. Okay, so he gets the queen out immediately, back to f3, and then one simple move, knight c6. And then you start looking, oh my, what are we going to do if a knight lands on d4 besides resign? Okay, what if this bishop's on this long diagonal? Okay, oh my. Okay, this could be real. Of course. Okay, wait. we're defenders, we can handle this, it's not a problem. We'll just play c3. Wait a minute, does that even handle anything? This is looking at this. Is this actually defending anything? That could be an issue. What if we immediately put the question to where the queen was? Maybe then we're asked, can you ever take this? I mean, does anybody want to play this for white? I don't think so. I wouldn't be looking at this too long. Pass. No, thank you. I have no interest in playing this.
It's only 0.1.
Yeah. Oh no. But most people don't play like Stockfish. Secret, John. Okay. No, for Stockfish, this may be. Yeah. Let's play some of this. But for real people, no, not so much. Yeah. No, wouldn't be happy about it if I was white.
Yeah, it's even though white is up 3 points of material here. The computer says it's even, so.
Yeah, that's a clue that it could be worse. So, in any case. Okay, so I wanted to just point out that when you get to a certain level, playing that fried liver, it may not be their liver that's getting fried. So you may want to consider that, other, ways to play. Now, I almost was going to focus on this other idea that I came across the other day because it was just so unique. It's not good objectively. Okay, now, and it's the move 19-2. Okay, now I see, I saw we were running out of time, so I couldn't help but show this. Now, what's wrong with this move? Joe, we'll throw this one to you. White played 92. What are you thinking? Oh no, not 92.
Well, close the bishop off.
Yeah, closes the bishop off.
It's brilliant.
How is he going to get his bishop off? Is his queen blocked in too?
Who cares
Yeah.
about the
Well, if he can't move the bishop, how can he castle? I mean, this looks like a ridiculous move.
I see F4 coming.
Oh, okay, so John is a little clairvoyant and realizes that if your opponent says, oh, I'll just attack your pawn, you could play F4. Now, this is only 2200 and above, okay? And there was still 91 out of 493 that came up with the idea of taking on F4. Okay, now there's a reason they're taking on F4. They're going to take on E4 too. Okay, so you only catch about a fifth of players over 2200 with this. Now, if you don't catch them, okay, and they play the absolute best way, the queen, 96 doesn't even look good actually, but let's say they find it, okay, and they're playing all the best moves, they're at 0.4 in their favor. I got to be honest, I'm not overwhelmed with how disastrous that is, okay? I'm not. We're going to get a new position, and it's under half a pawn. I don't care. It's Stockfish. I don't care. Nobody's playing it right. And that's even if they find all these perfect moves, okay? But let's see what happens to 20% of the players over 20% of the players over 2200. Take, and now they realize, oh shoot, I can't take. Well, at least half of them realize that. But half of them, you're going to get the joy of miniaturizing them after Queen E2, because in most of these circumstances, this can work. But guess what? The knight wouldn't be on F4. Okay? Because it has access to D5, this is just over. Because the only way to keep connection, so there's not a lost piece with check, right? And then knight B to C3 has to be, don't make that mistake. And black says, I'm still fine. I'm just going to get you rid of this thing. And white says, no, I'm not moving it. I'm playing D4. And now it's 100% lost. That doesn't work at all. In fact, the best thing now is for black just to sack the queen for the two knights. Okay, but I mean, how effective is that? Wouldn't you like to just start your games like a piece up 20% of the time? I mean, I might suffer a few positions. And, like, do you ever see anybody play 92? It's not like it's out there. There's no secret that's, oh, geez, everyone knows theory for 92. I don't think anybody does, actually. It looks too ridiculous. Just on the point of being, offensive, they wouldn't play that, In any case. So I think that's as much excitement as I've had for this evening. Is there any questions?
So is 92 good?
You want to have some fun, it is.
Have you ever had 92 played against you in a rated game?
I haven't. I haven't. But I saw it was one of these clips and stuff. I watch stuff like YouTube. They know who I am.
Yeah.
It's not all kitten videos. Okay, there's some chess stuff that comes up there. Okay, so I see those chess videos, and this one, I went, what? Because the guy's going, oh, I watched this guy who's 2,200, and he put this 92 on the board, and I was like, what the heck is he doing? And then he won with it, and I asked him to explain me the whole thing.
Can you just show this to the mate so that white moves?
What's that?
No, just the next few moves. Like,
Okay, the next. Okay,
best,
so
the best moves for black
the,
to
the,
defend.
be, the best moves though. No, he's got to give up the queen, John.
Well, other than that, what if is there anything?
What if he
other
plays
than that?
queen takes d4?
Wait,
And they moves to the rook.
you're saying if queen takes d4,
Oh, yeah, there's the rook.
Yeah. Knight check.
Or knight takes d4, yeah.
we're threatening discovered disaster, right?
Yeah, this might be interesting.
Yeah, this is
This would be a lot
yeah,
of fun.
Yeah, I think you guys got it from here.
Yeah.
That's, even if it's Carlson, I'm banking on you. Okay.
No, I saw a game that Carlson played where he plays 92, but it was, can you do move by move? It's not this type of, it's like the opponent plays Carl Khan, so.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute. You meant he played.
He goes C3, and now Carlson plays 92.
92 here. Interesting.
Yeah, and then D5, and then he just pushes the pawn.
He's transposing. So
And then
it's
let's
just
say,
a little transpositional trick.
So let's say people want to bring out the bishop, they just get the tempo on the bishop.
That's fun.
Yeah. Well, no. That's people not trying to refute him, which he's probably counting on at his level. Okay, that nobody's going to go into the complications. See, the computer's telling you D4, which you see all these players that are playing D4, like none.
Yeah.
Out of 57,000, you got 2,700 play D4, which, that kind of. Why does that, Jim? Let's talk your chess reasoning here. Why does D4 cast doubt on this whole setup?
So they don't have a pawn chain in the center.
Okay, or some people might say, oh, their e5 pawn may become suspect or overextended. Yeah, and they do losing square c3 for their knights. Both of them are missing a square. Yeah, and it's just more space in general. They gain the square d5 too. Jacob?
Yeah, I've analyzed this for the Caro that I play, and in fact, like it's recommending f4. I don't know. There's some lines where you even just play g5 with black.
With black
Center
and just
falls
mix it up. Yeah.
Some
Yeah, no,
people
yeah.
play the French like that too. Like you could get off of like the Sicilian
Oh.
decline.
So wait a minute. In the French, there's a position similar to this that's actually good. That I want to say I know a very strong expert on this French who might have even been defeated with this line before.
Oh, the Wings Gambit, yeah, the French. And the Wings Gambit variation.
We talked about this.
Some
But,
play it, some lose with
but this idea is very dangerous if black is especially unprepared. Even if he's prepared, it's interesting. There's a lot going on here. But when I was black and I was faced with it, I chose kind of I don't want to give him anything that he's looking for. But that's not the principled response. Play B6. And I'm sure you didn't play B6, did you? You just took it, right?
No, I didn't play B6 now. I took it before, but B6 is good enough.
It's more practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, but there's better moves than B6
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that are going after. I think. I thought like D4 was a move here. Yeah, they're saying it's even. But I've seen like some crazy messy games
Yeah.
with this. This is like.
Ego would be happy with this white.
So in any case, okay. Let me hold up here. Was there anything else before I sign off here? Hey, thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it, and have a good evening.
Okay.